Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Chandler. I'm so excited to be making another book video. Also, I might sound sick. I definitely do sound sick. It's because my nose, I basically cannot breathe through it at all because I had like a procedure done with it so I could breathe better in the long run, but for the time being I cannot really breathe at all, at least to my nose. So if I sound like actual Squidward, that is why. But anyways, if you guys didn't see by the title, today's video is going to be what I read in May, a little reading wrap-up of sorts. And May was a really good reading month for me. I think it's the best reading month I've ever had. So in today's video, I'm just going to be showing you guys all the books that I read in May and giving you my reviews on them and telling y'all if you should read them or not. So without further ado, I think let's just get straight into it. I actually read 10 books in May, and a lot of them I don't have the physical copy of because I got them from the library or from a friend, or they were audiobooks. The first book I read in May was Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy this book. I didn't think I would because I had to read it for school, and normally when I have to read a book for school, it makes me not enjoy it as much because it feels like I'm being forced to read it, but I actually did enjoy Animal Farm quite a bit. It's a allegory, I think is the correct word, to the Russian Revolution. So the whole book, each character in the book symbolizes someone in the Russian Revolution, and like all the events that take place symbolize things that actually happened in the Russian Revolution. Animal Farm is basically about all these animals on a farm that decide to revolt against the humans. Then the animals start taking power. They say all animals will be equal, but as the book goes on, the animals end up resembling the humans themselves as the animals take on a lot of human-like characteristics. But it sounds bad. I'm kind of bad at explaining books, but it's a really good book. I did rate it 4 stars, so that's pretty good. So I would recommend it. Guys, why is this straw so long? Oh my gosh. The next book I read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I rated this 4.5 out of 5 stars. So I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't like quite perfection, but it was really close, so that's why it's 4.5. The book is basically about this girl who can not be remembered. Like, she will leave a room, and then if she comes back in, no one will remember her being there before, and basically she cannot leave a mark on the world because she made a deal with like this god back when she was still aging. She made a deal with this god, so she won't ever age and she'll basically live forever, but she cannot be remembered or leave any sort of mark on the world, and it's really hard for her. So it's just about her navigating her life, and it is flipping back in time between the 1700s and 2014, I think it is. But basically what happens is when it skips to 2014, she meets this guy named Henry who remembers her. No one's ever remembered her before, so like she will leave and then come back and he will remember who she is. Henry is her way of leaving a mark on the world, and she has to figure out like why Henry remembers her and all of this really cool magical stuff, and it's really amazing, and I really do recommend this book. I did enjoy it, and I definitely think you would too. I will say though, it is slow paced. It's more of a read that you also have to enjoy the writing style for, because the book definitely could have been shortened by a lot, but it has a lot of like details and stuff like that. So the writing style definitely is not going to be for some people, but overall I would recommend this book. The next book I read was Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Guys, I literally don't remember this book. I'm gonna look up a summary to refresh my mind. Oh, I remember. Okay. So I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and this book is more of a thriller murder mystery book. It's about this girl named Libby, and when she was younger, her whole family was murdered in this terrible killing. Her brother, Ben, was the only other one other than her that didn't die that night, and he is blamed for the murders. But Libby really doesn't think that Ben did it, so when she's older, she tries to just kind of bring the case back to light and rediscover who the actual killer is. So she like goes to all these different people and she tries to put together what really happened on that night that her family died. Overall, I rated it 3.5 stars because I felt like it could be a little bit confusing at parts, and who the killer actually was, I was kind of like, that might have just been my impression of the book. But overall, it was a good book. I would probably recommend it, but it's not like a favorite or anything. Like, it's kind of forgettable, as you guys saw. So that is Dark Places. Next we have Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too. I don't know how to say this title. It's by Jomini Sun, and I know that's also not his real name, but I rated this 4 stars out of 5 stars. It's like a graphic novel, but like an adult graphic novel, which I've never read one before. It's basically about this alien who goes onto Earth and discovers all the secrets of Earth, mainly about animals, like all the animals that Earth has to offer and all the different things they do. I don't know, I thought it was cute. I rated it 4 stars. I enjoyed it, and if you want something that's quick that you can literally read in like, I read it in like 2 hours. But I also was like reading it really slow. So if you guys want a quick read to get some more books onto what you read this month, definitely read this book because it is a cute read. Next, I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm gonna take off the dust jacket real quick. My copy has these little black dots on it, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if mine's just dirty. I'm really not sure, but I tabbed mine if you guys can't tell. You probably can. This is a self-help book. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This was actually my second time reading it. I read this last year. It took me like most of the months to read it, to be honest. I started at like mid-April and I finished it like mid-May. But I just tabbed a bunch of important parts in it. I really can't give a summary because it's like a self-help book, but it basically is just about how habits can change your whole life and how to develop good habits and how to get rid of old habits. And it's a lot of non-traditional advice that you wouldn't hear in other places, or at least that I have never heard before. So I really do think this is a book that everyone should like have to read. I think it has a lot of good advice. As you can see, I literally tabbed so many things in it, and I would have tabbed more if I hadn't run out of tabs. I actually made a whole page on everything I learned from this book. Let me show you guys. So on my Notion, I literally have a thing called Atomic Habits, and it has everything I learned from this book. I like took notes on it as I was reading it, which I really do think that helped me get the full experience. Also, guys, I know my cheeks are red. It's from where I had like tape from after I had my procedure. I had a thing below my nose and I had like tape that went here and it like left little marks. So that is Atomic Habits. Oh my word, guys, this next book is definitely the best book I read this month. It is none other than, drumroll please, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. For sure, definitely in like my top 5 books I've ever read. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, obviously, and I don't have the physical copy because I got it from the library, but I really do want to get the physical copy of the book so I could just have it. This book is a second chance romance. It goes back in time for when the main character was a little girl, not a little girl, like my age, and like her romance with her neighbor. And then it goes into the present when her and that neighbor haven't talked for like 15 years, but they meet each other again and the romance sparks again. So it's like you get the 2 timelines of like their love story. It is so good, guys. This book made me cry. So did The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That made me cry too. The next book I read was Switch by A.S. King. I gave this book 1.5 out of 5 stars. I did not enjoy this book. It's a young adult book. It's really confusing because it's about this world where time stops, but time doesn't even stop. The only thing that stops are the clocks. Like the sun still rises and sets, seasons still change, like the earth is still spinning. The only thing that stops are the clocks, but there's like this big online clock that they make called New Clock. So then everyone can have a clock. So then everyone knows that time, like what time it would have been if clocks didn't stop. But clocks didn't stop if there's an online clock you can look at, and they're like, it would have been November if clocks didn't stop right now. Like, no, it's November. That part of it really confused me, but it's about this girl. I don't even remember her name. In her house, there's like this big switch that she wants to flip, and she's never flipped it before. And she wants to see what happened if she would flip the switch. So the whole book is about trying to flip the switch, but her dad every night puts like these boxes on it so she can't flip it. But then one night she does flip it, and that happens at like the end of the book. I don't know, it was really bad, really anticlimactic. I really do not recommend. I have a friend who really enjoyed this book, so maybe you guys would. The next book I read was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. A lot of people hate on this book, but I actually didn't find it bad. The only thing I didn't like about it was the writing style. I found it to be a bit like, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy the writing style that much. That was the only thing I didn't enjoy about this book. It's about this girl, her name starts with like a C or something. We're gonna call her C. C, who goes to this little beach island every summer, and like her whole family and cousins and like everyone, and this other guy named Gat, who's like, I didn't really understand his relationship, like a family friend or something, but he comes too, and they all meet up every summer at this like big beach island place, and they're like rich. But then on the 15th summer that they're doing that, the main girl, C, she has a big accident where she like doesn't remember a lot of stuff that happened and stuff, but then in the following summers her memory slowly comes back and she slowly starts to remember what happened, and like the stuff that happened was insane. No one will tell her what really happened, what her accident really was, and the whole book you basically try to figure out what it actually was. And I did not see it coming, guys. What her accident really was, I was like, It was good. I do recommend it. The only thing I didn't like was the writing style. That's why it didn't have a higher rating. But that's We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I would recommend it. The next book I read was 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand, and I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this book. I listened to it rather than read it, but it still counts. Audiobooks are still reading. I listened to this book basically during the whole month, and it was a really good summery read. It's about this girl Mallory and this guy Jake, where they have a same time next year. Every single year on Labor Day weekend, they meet up. It happens 28 different summers, like in a row they do it. But the guy Jake, he gets married, but they still do it every year, and his wife doesn't know. So it's basically about them having to hide their romance. Their relationship is super cute. They're definitely soulmates, I think. But the only thing I didn't like is it has like the cheating trope, and I really don't like that because cheating is not okay. And I feel like the book made cheating seem like it was okay, where it's not. There's a lot of like drama that sparks in the book because some people do know that they're doing this thing every summer, and some people are inclined to tell, and some people have to hide the secret, and it's just like all these secrets are going around, and I don't know. I like this book. I would recommend it. It's a really good summery read. The final book I read was Clap When You Land. It says my library district, so that's why I'm covering that. It's by Elizabeth Acevedo. I don't know how to say her name, but Clap When You Land. This is like a poetry type of book. It's not poetry, but I'll show you guys. It's written in verse. So like the whole book is written like this. Like I literally read it in 2 days. It was really easy. About this girl Camino and this girl Yahaira. I cannot say their names, guys. We're gonna call them C and Y. Their dad dies in a plane crash, and one of them lives in the Dominican Republic and one lives in America, and they don't know of each other's existence, but they're actually sisters. But their dad dies in a plane crash, and they end up finding out that each other exists, and then they end up like meeting each other, and it's just a book a lot about grief, and it's really sad. And the whole book, they basically get to meet each other, and then they get to live together and stuff. I don't know. It was just a cute story. I did enjoy it. I forgot to say, I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy this book, and I would recommend it. I feel like now that I've had more time to process this book, though, I would give it like a 3 stars. Like, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't live up to 4-star potential, but I also feel like it's a good, I feel like I just didn't read it when I was in the right headspace. Like, I wasn't in the mood for like a sad book, yet I picked it up. So I think I would have enjoyed it more if I was more in the mood for the book, but nonetheless, it was a good book, and I would recommend it. Okay guys, those are all 10 books that I read in May. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to watch my other book video I've made. It's about the 17 books that I read so far in 2022, like when that video was made. That has all the other books that I've read this year because that was made late April. So that has literally all the other books I've read this year. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Give me book recommendations down below in the comments, like books you guys think I would enjoy by like what my reviews were on these. If there's any books you guys think I would like. Also, you can friend me on Goodreads. My Goodreads is always in the description below. As always, love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.